Hello and welcome to the My Amazon Guy Friday live Q&A. My name is Noah Wickham. I'm sales director here at My Amazon Guy. I am here to answer any and all of your questions. So without further ado, let's get into it. It is Friday. I am happy to be here. And I see we already have a bunch of questions. If you have anything, throw your questions in the chat. We'll get to them. We are going to be answering anything and everything you guys can throw at us. So let's kick it off here. Abdullah, first and foremost, welcome. For new Amazon business, required 4 to 8 months to be profitable, but some client wants it in month with daily $20 to $40 budget. After I teach her or him, what is your suggestion? Yeah, so a client that wants to be instantly profitable on Amazon isn't willing to put in investment to get sales growth or anything like that. That's always going to be a problem you're going to face. Realistically, you have to be you have to be just completely honest with them. At the end of the day, anyone who is not willing to put some form of investment into growing their business is never going to truly grow the business at the end of the day. So what do? Well, you tell them, hey, this is what we need from a budgetary standpoint is average to not be getting as much of a return until after X amount of time, which again, yes, is about 6 to 8 months. And from that standpoint, you should be fully focused on just getting sales growth and targeting. So realistically, can you be immediately profitable on Amazon? Absolutely. Is it something that you have to do? If you don't want major sales growth, actually, yeah. So it's just unfortunately the way that business in general works and Amazon. So I would just be fully honest with them at the end of the day. It's not the easiest conversation in the world. And I would come back with data and some case studies and things like that. But anyone who actually is truly trying to grow their brand or their business will fully understand at the end of the day. I like opening with questions like that are not exactly full, just here's the answer. But all right, let's see. Touchstone, welcome back. We opened a seller account for a new LLC. Now we would like to buy a brand and transfer their account to our LLC. Prohibited. No, it's not. If we delete our account, can we do it? Anything else we need to do? So it's not prohibited to buy a brand and transfer it to your account. Actually, that's technically speaking how Amazon wants you to go about it. Amazon doesn't actually want you to purchase Amazon accounts. They want you to purchase brands. Transferring a brand from one account to another is not an issue whatsoever. It's not prohibited. It's not prohibited to have multiple accounts. It's not prohibited to purchase an account either. All of these things used to, yes, be prohibited. Amazon ran into a bunch of trouble years back because you can't really actually tell someone they're not allowed to sell their business as a private entity, unfortunately. So the big thing here is you're going to end up having to do a brand transfer direct to the account that opened up under your current new seller account. Secondarily, you could just look at taking on their current seller account unless you're not transferring the entirety of the seller account. You're just transferring the brand, in which case that's, again, you just need to transfer the ownership over to that new email that owns that other seller account. That's going to be the primary there. I wouldn't delete your account. Again, there's no purpose here. If you are going to have just that other seller account, just make sure that you open up a new LLC so that you're not tying two of the same LLC to two different seller accounts. That's what's prohibited, and that's a problem. But if that answers the question, hopefully, if there's any other areas that you need some extra guidance on, feel free to throw it back in the chat. Actually, you know what? You already did. I didn't even look. Yeah, it's secondary here. The other brand has a canceled trademark, didn't renew. They refiled, it's pending, and it's connected to brand registry, which shows 2, a declined and a pending. Is that a problem for ASINs? Yeah, so the pending, you can technically transfer the ASINs over to the new brand registry again. So you're going to have to take that brand registry and take your ASINs and go to brand registry support. You're going to have to ask them to do a brand name change. It's something we do all the time. It's not exactly the easiest process in the world, but as long as you're following basic SOP and you're essentially going through and you're saying, hey, here is my product. This is the correct brand name. We did a brand swap, blah, blah. it usually can go through pretty easily. You need to take pictures of the product with product packaging that shows the brand name. If it's the same exact brand name, it will make it even easier just because you're essentially just renewing your trademark. So no issues there. Jeff, oh, always good to see you, friend. Amazon is selling some of my products, ships by Amazon, sold by Amazon. Under settings fulfilled, Amazon, I have disabled the allow Amazon to buy my products, sell globally. Good job. Might the issue be with the new section FBA returns evaluation and ownership settings, damaged inventory ownership? I don't want Amazon to resell my products, but I do want to receive reimbursements for products damaged by Amazon. Okay, so there's a couple of different things you need to know and understand when it comes to Amazon as a whole. The first and foremost thing is how Amazon themselves sells products and what do they sell it under. If you are seeing shipped by Amazon, sold by Amazon.com, 9 times out of 10, that is Vendor Central. That is by and large Vendor Central, or the first issue that you already ruled out, which is allow Amazon to buy my products and sell them globally. Those are the two scenarios in which Amazon.com typically shows up as the seller. So my first thought would be to ask you the question, is there any chance whatsoever someone has, some bulk of your product that they sold to Vendor Central in some way, shape, or form? That would be my first guess. Now, assuming that's not the case, the damaged inventory ownership is a potential, especially if you essentially are, also having your return settings be where Amazon can try and liquidate product as well. Now, the thing is, typically speaking, with anything that is damaged in any way, shape, or form, Amazon sells it under Amazon Warehouse, not Amazon.com. And it will be listed as like new, used, so on and so forth. So if the product is listed as new, the only way that it's and Amazon.com, the only way it's showing is because Amazon has purchased that product in some way, shape, or form and is selling it essentially like they would a Vendor Central product, which could lead to the idea of a wholesaler sent and purchased your products, sent it to Amazon, Vendor Central. They're selling it. They may have limited quantity. A little trick you can do here, Jeff, as well, is go to your listing, have them be the person that you're trying to purchase from, and then try and see how many units they have. So if they have, I think it's less than 30 units, you can click on the item amount in the Amazon little buy box there. You can change it to be whatever it is. If it's over 30, it'll just show 30 units. But if it's under 30, then yeah, it'll tell you, and that'll tell you or give you more information as to whether or not this is something where someone has sold a lot of the product, or type thing where maybe they just purchased a small amount, they got it from a disposal, from a return, who knows. Pure Nature, Part 1. Hi, Noah. Keep up the good work, sir. I shall. Week 3 for my launch is starting tomorrow. I am on second and third page. I'm happy with all except ACOS is high. I'm at over 50%. My 30% sales organic now. A question I have, 2 variation, very similar product. Can I use one parent product for advert instead of spending on both? Technically no, but also technically yes. So that would be something where you're looking more at the idea of doing like a sponsored brand if you're just wanting to spend essentially on both. But what you could look at doing as well, and this is something frequently that I would advise, is at this point, you're 3 weeks in, you should have a decent idea as to which of the variations is doing better. And that's the one that I would just focus the majority of your ad spend on. At the end of the day, launching with multiple variations, and I think you were actually the one I talked to about this on the pod a couple of months back, but launching with variations is always a great idea. But the point of launching with variations is to try and see which of the variations is going to become the hero product that's really going to sell exceptionally well. So absolutely, I would launch with one, but at the same time, just make sure that or I would always launch with a variation, but at the same time, once I get enough data to know which one of them is better, that's where I'm going to be putting my advertising dollars in. So That's what I would probably suggest in this scenario. At the end of the day, is to try and just make sure you're not advertising as a whole, because again, you're early in the stages for something like a sponsored brand or a sponsored video. So yeah, I would focus heavily on just I'd focus heavily just on the aspect of which one of them is the hero product. Then you also ask, is it a good idea to open my product for other sellers to sell? No, it is not. Unless you want to be a wholesaler and a wholesaler only, it's just not worth it at the end of the day. Being a wholesaler while simultaneously being the brand seller and brand owner is it's kind of like leaving money on the table. So it's like, if let's say your product takes off here, pure nature, look at it like this. If your product takes off tomorrow with 5 more sellers on it, right? And every single one of those sellers is selling for the exact same price that you are, but you sell your product to them for, I don't know, let's say a third of the retail price. Would you be happy or would you be mad that they are selling and getting all of those sales and you're only getting 1/5 of the sales at the end of the day, plus, 1/3 of their sale? Right. So it's type of thing where your profits are just going to be higher as a seller always. It's where I would kind of focus. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. If you guys have questions, throw it in the chat. I'm all about it. Journeyman, good to see you. Roughly, how do you calculate how do you allocate spend between sponsored product, brands, sponsored products, brands, and display? Also, what targeting do you recommend for brands and display? Okay, so for sponsored product, the amount to allocate to each, I would focus heavily on essentially doing more of a 40-30-30 or a 50-25-25. There are some people that will say to do a 60-20-20 rule. It depends on what your goal is at the end of the day as well. Are you more focused right now on just overall sales growth and profitability? If so, sponsored product is going to be much more your avenue. If you are focused on trying to get more market share growth and trying to get more brand growth as a whole, then allocating a little bit more to sponsored brand is going to be majorly impactful for you, right? So these are the type of things you have to think about at the end of the day, as well as things such as, is your brand store front, really optimized for conversion, or is it optimized for brand knowledge and, converting new to brand customers, right? Because that will heavily depend on how well your, sponsored brands do, right? So these are things you have to think about when you're looking at allocation. It really depends. I am a big, more so 50-25-25 kind of guy, even less on the display side. I'm not the biggest fan of doing display all the time. It's more of a kind of seasonality type thing. And, I'll roll back display. So it's more like we're doing a 50-35-15 is kind of what I would consider to be like the golden ratio, right? Spending not too much on display, 15% on display, spending about 35% on sponsored brand, and then spending the rest of it on sponsored product. Now, that being said, sponsored product, I also like to break up into a different segment based on exact campaigns, phrase, and broad and whatnot. So that's how your allocation should look. But I think I went way too in depth with that at the end of the day. I might put out a graphic actually, or a video talking about that as well and how allocation should work. What targeting do you recommend for brands and display? Again, that's very much dependent on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to do more market share, that's very different than if you're trying to do conversion versus if you're trying to do profitability. Honestly, if you're just focused on profitability, I wouldn't even focus on something like a sponsored brand, because sponsored brand isn't going to be super, super great for profitability, but it will be really, really good for, gaining market share, right? It also very much depends on where are you currently at. So I'd be happy to dig into these, journeyman, but the question itself, there are rules of thumb to follow, but it's not a one size fits all type of shoe when it comes to these. It really comes down to a business to business approach and how you kind of do your strategy around allocation. Let's see here. How to cope up with 1 to 2, okay, 1-star reviews that has affected overall ratings now. Get more sales and look at what they thought was bad about the product and make sure that is addressed in the PDP. There is nothing better to do than taking negative reviews and using that negativity to be like, oh, I need to make it very clear about this product. I see it so often in like technical products, people not knowing what the purpose of certain things is. They don't know. A great example. I recently bought these screen protectors. And I put it on my phone, nice and fancy, you know, it gives me the whole whatever thing, right? Already broke one of them, so I need to put the other one on. But anyways, my point being there is that they, on their PDP and on their box, make it explicitly clear how you are supposed to apply the screen protector. Because if you do it incorrectly, you waste an entire screen protector. It's essentially dead. It's not worth it. It just turns into a wasted piece of product, right? Which I would say that happens. They're going to probably get a lot of negative reviews. You go and you look at all of their negative reviews, all of them come down to typically user error and how it was applied. So they have made their product to try and avoid that issue that not only them, but pretty much every single screen protector does. And if I can get this box open here. Oh, here we go. And so they essentially try and avoid the idea of user error as much as possible with like giving an applicator, right? And then making the applicator as simple as possible. So they took what is the most common negativity and negative comments within their industry, and they turned it into their largest strength. And that's what you should always take from, 1-star reviews. Now, that being said, some people just say, hey, I don't like the product, and it's 1-star review. Just get more sales volume and try and get, another 5-star review. You get a couple more 3-star, or not 3-star, 4-star and 5-star reviews. When you can, do you have any recommendations or perhaps some interview questions or tests on how to hire a VA? Ooh, well, so I wouldn't say VA specifically. Let's talk about just hiring someone for your Amazon business. Couple of things that I always will do. First and foremost, I have to test knowledge. So you have to decide, are you hiring someone for the purpose of they already have knowledge and they can help you on your business? Or are you trying to hire someone that you can teach and share your knowledge and your SOPs and kind of mold them? That very much will determine what it is you're going to do. The second option is going to be a lot cheaper. First option is going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's going to be less time involvement from your end. So depending on which one of those, that obviously depends on how you're going to go about hiring someone. The big thing to kind of keep in mind when you're looking at any VA, you're looking at any Amazon specialist, anything like that, is basically what are they actually going to be doing for you? Now, if they're going to be doing day-to-day management, if they're going to be doing advertising, everything in between, that all very much differs in how you go about questioning them. The number one question I'm always going to ask people in any interview, and it's my favorite question to actually ask people, comes down to one thing and one thing only. And that would be, what are you actually trying to get out of this position? Every single person will have a different answer for that question. There are a lot of people who will try and give you a convoluted answer of, I just love the mission, 99% of the time, the best answer you can get from someone is, I want to expand my experience and I need a job to make money. That's the type of answer I actually love at the end of the day, is someone just being extremely real with it. But the biggest thing is form your test around what the VA role is going to be doing. So a very common one that we ask here is for people to explain what the IPI score on Amazon is for, right? So if they can't accurately explain an IPI score, why would we trust them to do really anything on the account, right? That being said, we can always train. So we're big into interns here and training people. But if you're hiring for experience, that's a big thing to know, right? So food for thought, I suppose, but it really comes down to role and what they're going to be doing and whatnot. And ask basic questions. Ask questions that you would hope that they would know the answer to if you ask them to do it during the day-to-day work. That's a wild way to spell my name. Nahoa. When running auto campaigns that are for keyword discovery, how should you bid? Lower the average, average bid, or higher than average? Sorry if it's a dumb question. It's our first year in PPC. Lower than average. So always be super low with any auto campaign to start, because you can always raise it up. And auto campaigns that you put way too high have a habit of running out of control and just being way too expensive. So auto campaigns that you're looking for gold panning keywords, the point of a gold panning auto campaign like you're trying to do for keyword discovery is specifically that you're not spending much money, but you're seeing what keywords are generating impressions and clicks. And that helps you then determine, oh, if I am way below the bid for this keyword, I bet I can be really competitive on it just seeing what I'm getting for way below the bid, right? So that's how you kind of go about that. Mr. Ad, why Amazon reimburse very less for lost item, but more for warehouse damage? I don't think they don't technically reimburse less. So the thing is, first off, all of Amazon's reimbursements are changing. So the information I'm about to give here is completely going to be irrelevant here in the next, 2 weeks, whatever. That being said, what I will say is when a product is lost in the Amazon warehouse, it's not necessarily gone. So you very frequently are going to be getting back a product. Amazon will reimburse it. I believe it's after 60 or 90 days. But then, if they find the product again, they're just going to charge you for whatever they reimbursed, right? So that's what it comes down to. Whereas a damaged product is a fully just damaged product. You lost retail value. You lost the ability to sell that product, right? That's what it comes down to. All that being said, in 2.5, 3 weeks, that all changes and it is completely different. And it doesn't matter because Amazon's going to determine the price one way or another and say, screw you. So unfortunately. Oh, can we run defensive campaigns targeting my own ASINs in sponsored brands? And where will it show, as we can do with sponsored display, to prevent our competitors from stealing our sales? Technically, yes. I mean, you can't do it the way that you're probably thinking about it. Do it against your targeted keywords, though. So essentially, if you have your brand, go against your brand, create a sponsored brand campaign, which that's kind of the point of sponsored brand, I should say as well, and target that way. So you can't do sponsored brand, I think, in the way that you're thinking with sponsored display. There's just no way to do that, right? You can't do that kind of targeting. So instead, you have to go specifically within your niche and within your brand terms. Simple enough as that. Video games explained. Hey guys, so we are looking to move business address in a few days. How should we do it, and in what order? Change business address, then bank account address, or the other way around? Anything to look out for? Yeah, so I would always change them at the exact same time. So anytime you're changing account information, change as much of the account information that you have to all at the same time, primarily just to avoid the idea of having to do multiple rounds of Amazon being like, hey, we got to verify this information, verify your identity, verify your business info, all of that. So Amazon will do that, but if you do it all at the same time, you have a less chance of them needing to do it for every single aspect, and realistically only need to do it for like one or two. That being said, I would also just make sure if you're changing out the bank account and stuff like that, that you wait until directly after one of your disbursements, because otherwise you can lead to situations where Amazon is like, hey, you just changed your bank account. We're going to hold this money for a certain allotment of time, which sucks, but it happens. Daniel, always good to see you. Always good to see you. Hello as well. Thanks for stopping in on the webinars the other day as well. I'm Main Riven. Okay. Looking to become an Amazon account manager for a company. I currently run my own account, but will be stepping away to operate this other one. Are both accounts at risk? Since I will be operating 2 accounts. No, we operate over 400 different accounts right now. And on top of that, we also have access to probably close to 2,000 plus accounts at the moment. Just because people don't remove our user accounts for some reason. So No, you're totally fine to do both. It's not an issue whatsoever. I mean, there's tons of people who own their own account and everything and work on other ones. I've done it. Pretty much, majority of people here have done it. So, no, absolutely not. You can always have your account, and you can. The thing I would say is create a different user login from your admin user for the account that you're going to be going on. So you never want to use your admin user account for your own account as a user account on another account as well. So just create a secondary email address and you'll be off to the races there. LQ2. One of my main image keeps getting refused by Amazon, although I just add some illustrating items touching the package. So it depends on how you're going about the illustrating items. I'd love to see the main image without turning this into an ASIN review like it always does when I look at people's main images. But the main image hack is very specific, right? And how you have to go about it. Even if you're just adding some stuff that's touching the package, it needs to be relevant. It needs to not look like it's just photoshopped in some capacity completely. It needs to actually look professional. I would be curious to see how you're going about it. Worst case scenario, at the end of the day, go through like A/B testing. Just keep making small modifications until you get it to where it is accepted. And that's my best advice there, because sometimes main images, they don't work out. The main image hack, you have to really get it specific for Amazon to be like, yeah, we can do that. 150K in deferred transactions, 0 available. What do I do? You ask Amazon why it is that they are holding 150K. There's a million reasons this could be. Maybe you got a bunch of returns. Maybe you're a new account. Maybe you have your account suspended. Maybe you were selling counterfeit items. Maybe you got an IP complaint. There's a lot of reasons for a deferred transaction. Reach out to Amazon, ask them what the actual cause is and what the problem is. That's your best case scenario right now, just because you need to know that to be able to even move forward in any capacity. But it's rare that I see Amazon just defer transactions for 0 reason. Viper, happy Friday / Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Minecraft. We have a product that is sold for men and women. We sold a men's variation. It was highly successful. We want to launch women's variation. Should we launch it as a variation or as a separate listing? Well, first off, a variation is a separate listing, but I think you're asking if you should have it as a variation on the parentage. And I would say no. First, launch the product as its own standalone product. Wait at least a week or two, and then you can parent it into your variation. The only reason for this is, 1, to avoid any issues with your current listing variations, but 2, also there's you can capitalize on your parentage market share, but you're going to have to change how you go about that parentage in your advertising. So make sure you get at least a little bit of velocity on the women's first, so that it doesn't tank your men's parentage. I got into product where recommended cost per click is $3 USD. And the product itself sold at 20 USD. So in order to sell one, it costs 30 USD in ads. Oof. The same goes for all my competitors. I do understand that my ads won't be profitable, but they keep my organic rank higher. How to calculate budget in cases like this? Well, what I'll tell you first and foremost is your average cost per click across the board for everything you are doing is not $3 if your product is $20 and if all the other products are $20. Means that there is absolutely some other areas right now that you could probably be advertising in that you're not. They're probably a little less generic, because it sounds like you're probably going after super high relevancy, super high search term keywords, search volume keywords, I should say. What I will say is just track your tacos. First of all, that's the biggest metric you can always track. So if your tacos is staying consistently at, let's say, 10%, and you have 0 issue paying 10% of ad cost, and you continue increasing your overall ad spend, and your tacos does not increase, then it does not matter what your budget looks like. So always calculate your budget based off of your tacos. If you see that your tacos is rising, okay, pull back a little bit on your ad spend. If you see that it's falling, add a little bit more ad spend back in. That's the purpose of a metric like tacos at the end of the day. It's also why it's the better metric. I have a product that runs on autopilot. It was very high ranked in raid. It was low margins, but didn't need to do much. It just recently went on stock. I've been debating restocking it. Should I? I mean, it sounds like it's pretty easy gig for you. Let me ask you the question: if it, you want, actually, you know what? This is how I have always done these types of situations in my head and decided it. I essentially look and see how much time investment does this product, or let's say just task in general, how much time investment does it take me on a weekly basis? I then look at it and see how much is either costing me or making me in money, and I break that down into an hourly. If it is somewhere in a ballpark that I'm like, yeah, I want that hourly and everything, I usually would say just restock it. So if you're making, I don't know, even if it's only generating you $300 in profit a month, right? If it only takes you 2 hours a month to do anything, is that worth your time? That's kind of how you just look at Viper. I launched a product and it was going well until I found that the item was patent filed in April 2023. I launched it in September 2024. So is it safe to sell or should I stop selling? You can keep selling it. You're probably going to get hit with a patent violation at some point in time, unfortunately. So nobody can stop you from selling the product for the time being. But how long until you actually get hit with a patent violation? Only time will tell, right? But you most likely will get hit with one at one point in time. Oh, goodness. All right. Let me get some water in me real quick. Okay. Just realized me making all that sound probably sounds awful through the microphone. All right. Peter, does Amazon throttle sellers' sales? And if so, is there a way to raise the artificial bar that has been set? If Amazon does throttle sales, there is no way for any seller to ever know, like with 100% assurance, nor know how it actually works. What I will say is your sales can be throttled by things such as your organic ranking dropping, going on stock, losing featured offer, having a hidden suppression. So hidden suppressions, that's kind of, I guess, throttling sellers, but usually it's for a specific reason. There's a lot of things that can throttle your sales, right? How do you raise the artificial bar? More advertising, fix your hidden suppression, go through the process of getting more reviews, make sure that your organic SEO is actually improving, have super high relevancy targeting, all the same things you would do normally. Like there's no secret, demon out to get you or something trying to, destroy your Amazon business. It's just basic Amazon sales strategy. Hook me up with a good discount mag. Look, I mean, hey, anybody interested in My Amazon Guy services, reach out to us, sales@myamazonguy.com. Can't guarantee you'll get me, but you might get me. And I would be happy to help anyone at the end of the day get started with us. We, like I said, 400 clients. We are very well right now. So hit me up, Viper. Scaling the brand / ads, increasing spend on current campaigns, or launch more campaigns. Well, I mean, it depends. Are your current campaigns doing what you want them to? Are they increasing, decreasing? Is your ACoS increasing? I always am going to be a fan of adding more campaigns to an extent. Depends if you have maximized your current campaigns. So take a deep look and check out your current campaigns. If you haven't maximized what you could be doing from an efficiency standpoint with your current ones, then focus on your current and then look at adding some new targets at the end of the day. Touchstone. I think. Yeah, I already answered this, didn't I, Touchstone? Deleting the unused. Okay, so you're adding more information. Okay, I'll read through it. Whatever. We plan to buy entire account, not just brand. Keep account history messages to prevent brand from selling empty account. Form new LLC for the transfer, but opened Amazon account unused. Without opening yet another LLC, we would have two selling accounts on one EIN. Yes, absolutely prohibited. Would deleting unused account work? Then transfer the brand account, swap email, tax info. No, not really. Unfortunately, in this type of scenario, you technically would have to go through, if you want that to be done, an Amazon account merge. Now, I wouldn't really suggest going through that process because one, hardly ever works out, and Amazon just doesn't want to do it ever for some reason, even though they like limiting people's ability with accounts. So I wouldn't suggest that route, Touchstone. I would probably suggest the route of new LLC in this scenario, or just transfer everything over to the new seller account. There's no reason whatsoever to put the risk of both accounts getting shut down with the same EIN and same information and everything. Let's see here. When I get hired to edit for Amazon guy, how much will I get paid as an editor? I don't know. But we are fairly transparent with all of our salaries at the end of the day. So if you end up getting into an interview process, you can usually ask, and we'll usually give the salary out. I think we actually give most of our salaries out on all of our job postings on LinkedIn. So I would just check LinkedIn. I could figure this out. I just don't want to. It really depends on the role and your experience level also, to be fair. So every single one is going to be different, but our interview team, our HR team will absolutely always be fully transparent with our pay structures. Is the ad spend on Campaign Manager display the ads, Campaign Manager display the ads with VAT included? Are you saying like how much you spend on the ads and if VAT from like how much you have to pay in VAT included? I actually don't know that one. I unfortunately don't know, Fahad. You can send this question into podcast at myamazonguy.com. And I'd be happy to look into this. I don't know the answer to that one. I would assume yes, but I don't know how ad spend works with VAT. I am no accountant at the end of the day, nor tax professional. So feel free to send it over to us. I can do some digging, but I would probably consult, like, say, a tax professional on that. Oh, so sorry for spelling your name wrong. All good. It has happened more times than I can even count at this point. I launched a product in September 24. Okay, so I already answered this one. Let's see. If I need to modify the product while keeping the ASIN, the same ASIN, the newer version I want to launch under the same ASIN serves the same function but has slight design changes to avoid patent issues. Yeah, that would be fine as long as you're not hitting the patent violation. Go for it, but launch it, under a new version. If products are lost or damaged or something like that, how can we check this? My shopkeeper is showing -$9 in reimbursements, so I don't know. So you can actually do this via reports. So if you go, I don't know, guys, if I'm logged into an account. Of course, I'm not logged into an account. Let me see if I can log into an account real quick. Here's Zane. I can show you. Let's see. Sure, this works. So here's what I would do here. You can go and let me share my screen. Yep. All right. So you can go up here, and then if you go into, I believe, what is it? Reports, fulfillment reports, and then you come down in fulfillment reports, and you go into, what is that? I think the inventory ledger. So your inventory ledger will show you essentially all movement of product. I believe there's one other one as well. Inventory ledger is probably what's going to be best for you. I think also, there's customer returns in here. There's a grade and resell report, which that one will help with the returns if you have that active. You can see that as well. But likely the inventory ledger is going to be best for you because the inventory ledger will actually tell you what has happened with every single unit that you have and where it's gone. So that's probably where I would go, Zane. Out of stock versus turning off PPC and increase product price until restock. turn off PPC and increase product price is probably what I would do instead. I mean, always, if you know that you're going to go out of stock at some point in time, why would you not just get more profit out of the product that is while it's going out of stock? All right, let's get this back up and running. How do I get my screen back here? There we go. My internet dropped there, guys. So that's a thing. But I guess we'll keep hurrying this up so that we don't have any issues moving forward. All right, let's see here. I noticed that some keywords don't have search volume in Helium 10, but I still got sales from them by auto campaign. Should I include these keywords in an exact match campaign? Yeah. So Helium's not always going to be 100% accurate with its search volume at the end of the day. So I would go off of what you see in your actual ad console more than anything. What's the solution of error 8541? I've tried listing manually through flat file, also after deleting the ASIN for 24 hours and relisting, but still got the same error. It depends on what the issue is that you're facing. So is it 9 times out of 10? We have a video of this on our channel, but 9 times out of 10, it's a UPC issue. And when it's a UPC issue, you have to get a new UPC, or you have to see why it is your UPC is already used on another product. So that's the unfortunate case there. Now, in the cases where it's not a UPC issue, you might be trying to change some product information and details that are specifically not able to be changed. So you can't change things like you can't change the UPC, you can't change the ASIN, you can't change the SKU that you've listed. You can create a new SKU, but you can't change the current one. Variety of different things. So that's the big thing, is figuring out why is it happening. And again, 9 times out of 10, I see it. It's a UPC issue. How can I identify which keywords are generating organic sales? Go to your search query report in, what is it? Search query report under your brand analytics. So yeah, is that, yeah. Brands, brand analytics, search analytics, and then search query performance. And that will give you keywords. 8541. Yep. Hopefully that got the solution. How could I know my total conversion rate for both organic and sponsored? Ooh, so you can only really get your conversion rate for organic and sponsored from the search query performance. It's technically going to be primarily the organic side. You have to get your download data, and then you have to essentially combine both your organic side on that, and also you have to combine the advertising side. So Amazon doesn't give you those numbers very easily, unfortunately. You kind of have to do a little bit of math yourself by adding everything together. What is the best, FBA or FBM? FBA, 9 times out of 10. Unless you have a super big product, in which case it doesn't work. What's a good percentage for creator connections? 15% commissions with 200K budget. Yeah, 15% is fantastic. What I'll say about the budget here, Viper, is put your budget as high as humanly possible. There is zero reason whatsoever you shouldn't have a unlimited budget, basically, and it will also help attract more creators. Reason it helps attract more creators, if you're thinking about it from a logical perspective, comes down to the idea that if you were, let's say, trying to take on a job, would you want to have someone tell you, hey, you can only earn a capped amount for this role, right? You're someone who's doing sales essentially. And then, it's the worst thing in the world, capping out how much you can actually make. No one wants to be capped out for that, right? So would you be upset if you sold $1 billion worth of sales from Career Connections and they took 150 million of it in commissions, right? It's kind of the way to look at it. Is it okay to have an ACoS above 100% in the first month of launching where most sales are coming from advertising? Technically, yes, but at the same time, I would be a little bit worried on your end as to why you're at 100%. Sounds like you're really overextended on your advertising and you're not really targeting correctly. Secondarily to that, you're kind of probably hitting your profitability and your ability to really scale from a cash flow perspective pretty hard. I really would check into your indexing and ranking, because if you're not growing organically from that amount of advertising, you're not hitting your correct keywords. So start there. The best report to use to get accurate P&L weekly. SKU economics is very off for PPC spend and not able to find a report which is 100% accurate. Maybe it's me. No, you're not wrong. Amazon's reports are awful and abysmal. Honestly, the best thing I can tell you is do one of two things. Either one, get a software that you trust enough that even if it's off by, let's say, 5%, it's still accurate enough that you can make your determinations across the board. Number two, just get all of the data that you need individually in of itself. So things like SKU economics, things like business reports, yeah, they're accurate to an extent. For like a P&L, I would just go off of your business reports. And then also, what is Amazon paying you? How much are you paying Amazon? That's all that comes down to at the end of the day, because that's going to give you the most amount of information. And I would just do the calculation yourself. Hi, is it important to track the ASIN performance in terms of relative place in search result for every keyword, or just track click-through rate, conversion rate for the overall product? Thank you very much. I track keywords, specifically high relevancy keywords, your branded keywords. You want to track that kind of stuff because you want to see how you're actually growing from an organic standpoint. You will be getting 10x the number of sales on a product if you are organic rank 100, or sorry, if you're organic rank 10 versus if you're organic rank 100, right? So absolutely track individual keywords, especially high relevancy, high search term ones. Try and grow organic from there. Of course, click-through rate matters immensely and conversion rate matters immensely, but understanding your organic rank is very important as well. I think I might be dying over here. Goodness. All right, let's hit this. What are best practices before going on stock and unable to restock shoes? Yeah, so I already answered this one, I think. Absolutely raise your price as much as possible until you're no longer getting sales. And, that's good. More profit. How could I find the keywords that related to a niche by Helium 10? So are you asking like categorically? I would find products within the category and look at those products specifically. And then I would create a market tracker and then index tracker on Helium 10 using their tools to get keywords from it. You can also look at Frankenstein. It's probably the 3 best ways to go about it. Thanks for the info. I'm focused on increasing sales for sponsored brands. Would you set up keyword and product targeting similar how you set up on sponsored products? No, not necessarily. If you're trying to go defensive, it makes more sense to just go keyword. Your product side is not going to make sense. Doing any ASIN targeting, categorical targeting is more effective, in my opinion, for something like sponsored brands. Just because the idea that, again, the best way to utilize something like sponsored brands for market share and growing it, it's not in my opinion, the best for like defensive. I mean, you can, but I would much rather just do something sponsored display for something, your purpose here, Journeyman. High ad spend, 800 reviews, but some days no sales, just clicks, no conversions. Okay. So what's the question? No sales, just clicks. It sounds like you need to increase your conversion rate, update your PDP to make it super convertible. Price is number one converting factor. So what's your price? I mean, it sounds like you have a great product. I mean, 4.7 rating, but some days no sales. I mean, that sounds like you just need to update your organic ranking as well. What is the difference between negating a keyword and turning off the campaign switch button? Negating means that the campaign can still run, but you aren't going to be targeting that specific keyword. It's much more effective, in my opinion, to do that, unless, I mean, if your campaign, for instance, is just one keyword and it's an exact match campaign with that keyword, yeah, just turn it off. But it's made so that essentially you're not going against anywhere that has that keyword. So if you have, for instance, a separate brand or something that is like super popular and you don't want to be targeting that brand, I don't know, whatever, you can negate that. And now your products for like a broad match or a phrase match or an exact match won't show up there. It's much more effective, and you can still essentially control the campaign at the end of the day. Negating a keyword or search term means your ad will not. Oh, okay, so he's answering the question. Cool. No VAT and taxes. PPC campaigns only display price without any taxes. Look at Rahul coming in here with some answers. What are best practices before going on stock and unable to restock? Yeah, I think I already answered this, Rahul. If I want to change or remove an accessory in the next shipment while keeping the same ASIN, how can I do it without causing customer complaints about missing items or differences in the product? You can't really. I mean, you can just update the product detail page to be, without it, but you may also face some issue from Amazon, who is expecting the product to be that. So making actual product changes is a little difficult on Amazon, unless it's still essentially the same exact product. But when you have like a bundle of some kind that's an accessory or it's, anything like that, it's hard to change the ASIN because people are expecting it to be one thing or the other. So you can go about it depending on how big the accessory is as far as it, like, if you're selling, I don't know, a deck of cards and then like also card sleeves, and then you change it to be just a deck of cards without card sleeves, that's taking away one of like the purposes of the listing, one of the products for it. So you may face issue with Amazon there. But at the end of the day, you can always just change PDP and, hope that it sticks. All right, let's see here. I lost buy box 2 days ago for my own product in a high sell period, and I don't know why. Does Amazon's algorithm calculate how long it will take you to go out of stock? So the buy box question, are you the only person selling it, or are there other people selling it? Do you have any account level issues? Do you have any recent feedback issues, recent return issues? Is your product suppressed in some way, shape, or form? These are all questions you need to look into and ask, because there's a lot of reasons that you can lose buy box on Amazon. As far as Amazon algorithm calculating how long you'll take to go out of stock, the actual algorithm for that, like selling, no. Amazon's backend, yes. Amazon absolutely looks and sees how long until you're out of stock. That's part of the FBA inventory calculations, and that's why you get things such as like low inventory fees. What's the best campaign structure? One keyword campaign or 5 to 6 keyword per campaign with same match type, or 5 6 keywords with different match type, but grouped by search volume or relevancy. So I personally would say this always: no more than 10 keywords per campaign, preferably 5 keywords in a campaign, first and foremost. Secondarily, make sure they are all the same exact match type. So whether it's exact phrase or anything, it doesn't have to necessarily just be that campaign. It can also be by ad group as well. But I prefer to make campaigns just one match type. Makes it a lot easier. And then from there, what you're kind of asking, that with the relevancy search volume, I don't really matter. It doesn't really matter too much to me. What I will say is you will have more issue if you, for instance, put some low search volume and relevancy keywords in with high relevancy, high search volume keywords, because those high ones are just going to eat majority of the budget at the end of the day. We put up, I think this is my YouTube video as well. It's kind of funny. Mina Elias recommend 1 keyword per campaign strategy. Do you also agree with this approach? For example, 1 keyword, 3 campaign, 1 with exact second of the phrase, and 3rd broad match. Not really. I mean, realistically, it more so comes down to what is the type, what is the type of campaign you're going after. Personally speaking, the only time I'm doing a launch of 1 keyword is when I'm trying to do that specific keyword. So if I find a keyword that has super high impressions and search volume, and it's super relevant, yeah, I'm going to keep that keyword by itself, just from the aspect of it will eat up the entirety of the budget for all the other keywords. So the reason I always say launch the campaign with 5 to 10 is because you will very quickly see which of the keywords are doing the best in that campaign. You can turn off all of the other ones, create a secondary campaign for the rest of them, and then still keep that keyword that's working exceptionally well in that campaign. Doing 1 keyword to 1 campaign kind of just seems redundant, for 1. And 2, just sounds like a way to have thousands of campaigns that you have to manage versus being able to manage individual when you're doing testing. So I think it's more of a difference in practice of what you're actually trying to do versus necessarily one way or the other is best. The canceled trademark was reapplied, not renewed. Oh, okay. So 2 different serial numbers, but the pending name is the same as canceled. So brand registry doesn't get applied automatically. No, it doesn't get applied automatically. Okay, fault. Yeah. So no, it doesn't get applied automatically. Touchdown. You have to actually go through the brand name change still, which seems kind of silly, but it's unfortunate. You kind of have to. Best approach for ranking product and get sales when cost per click is too high, around $5 to $10 for high search volume keywords. Should we target 5-6 main keywords and go for low search volume? Yes. I wouldn't do low search volume like 100. I would do between 250 and 750. The issue when you have any type of keyword that even if it's quote unquote high relevancy, high search volume, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to take it. Typically, super high search volume keywords also have an insane number of competitors. So something a lot of people don't look for is what you're saying right there, low competition. So focus low competition, low search volume at the end of the day, and grow market share from that perspective. And that in turn will help you down the line grow market share for the high search volume. And then you don't have to spend as much on advertising for that high search volume. And we still need to do brand change. What is the risk if we don't? What will Amazon do? Amazon will remove your other brand eventually at some point in time. When they see that that brand is not renewed and it's canceled, Amazon will remove it at one point or another. If that good to put different keywords and bullet points for ASINs in family of listings that should have same title for all variation with only color reference. Is it good? I imagine is what you're saying. And yeah, absolutely. Change. If you can do different SEO ranking across different variations, absolutely do it. Viper, should I separate products or put all my products in one campaign? Career connections. Personal preference, I separate them based on which one I'm trying to do well at. So it's separating is probably the better way, actually, realistically. Let's see here. Daniel had a packaging change that unfortunately came with a new UPC. Product itself is same. What's the procedure to keep reviews of the original ASIN while updating the UPC code? Amazon not making it easy. No, they are not. You have to essentially create a secondary ASIN with the new UPC and then go through a UPC merge situation to keep the reviews. Here's what I will tell you. A lot of people mess up this process. They mess it up real bad. What I will also tell you is that we are fantastic at this process. What I would do, Daniel, reach out to us. We have a service for changing UPCs on listings while keeping the reviews, and we have seen fantastic success. We can tell you right away whether or not it's going to be possible before we even start work, which 9 times out of 10 it is, unless you have some extenuating circumstances. So to save yourself the headache, I would very much encourage you to reach out to someone like us and have us help you out, as it is an annoying process, as you are, I'm sure you're aware of already. Best place to buy UPC for cheap, GS1. Don't go online and search UPC codes for sale. Buy them on GS1, or else you're going to have some issues like Daniel here, except it's 10 times worse. Depop, should we just rely on reverse ASIN search / data dive list to find relevant keywords, or should we dig into each listing individually to find more keywords for launch? Dig into individual listings. Always dig into individual listings. Why click-through rate organically have to be between 1.5 2.5% to be on a regular, but click-through rate by ads between 0.5 to 0.8 to be average? I saw this in a video by my Amazon guy, Steven. Yeah, so this actually, Steven and I kind of covered this last week on our live Q&A as well, when he was in here. And here's what I will say. The reason that it's different from an organic perspective is that you actually already have organic ranking. And so people are already searching for that product. People are less likely to click on ads at the end of the day, is the thing. And you're going to typically be shown to more audience types on the actual advertising as well. So your click-through rate on advertising is usually going to be much lower than it is on an organic standpoint. How am I doing? I'm doing great. If I'm providing listing optimization or SEO services and I need images of the product, should I ask client to provide me, or is there any other solution? We always ask clients to provide the images. If they don't have pictures, they can take them with their phone. We have recommendations for photographers. You can always get 3D renders done. There's a lot of different scenarios. But yeah, always have the client provide them at the end of the day. Will pausing the campaign affect the sales if the same keyword is being targeted in a new campaign? Yes, technically. Every campaign has history. And that history is what allows campaigns to be more effective. It's what search terms come from. It's how campaigns effectively target keywords. So yeah, there's going to be some discrepancy at the end of the day, but since you have that history, you kind of already know what to do. So it shouldn't be as bad, but yeah, there's definitely going to be some sales discrepancy. As a beginner, do you really need to use Helium 10 or Jungle Scout for search of products? Yeah, absolutely. Thoughts on bottom barrel scraping low search volume keywords of a competitor 50 to 300 search volume keywords? Running ads on them doesn't make sense, i.e. rank them first, then move to high search volume keywords. Yes and no. The thing I will warn you of here is that if you are not the only person competing on that keyword for advertising, those super low search volume keywords can become expensive and high costs really, really fast. Just from the aspect of if you and 2 other guys are all competing for the 2 sales that come from 50 impressions of somebody searching a keyword, it's going to get expensive, essentially, is what I'm saying. All right, we got only, it looks like 3 questions left, which works out perfectly because I got to get going here soon. But let's get through these. What do you recommend about the bidding? Should I go with suggested bid, above, or lower than that? I usually go about suggested bid, a little bit lower than it, to test the waters to start. And then from there, you can always adjust upwards. So it's always easier to add on more than it is to take back, because you can't take back how much you have spent, but you can always add more to your spending. I'm a skincare company and the product, it's ours, only we sell it. I have a professional account in FBA logistics. Fantastic. Love to hear that for you. I don't know if there's a question there, but fantastic. How often do you change your bids, and what look back period you consider it? Also, how do you change your bids, bulk sheet or using targeting in advertising dashboard? Have you created any SOP to, I assume that's SOP, to speed up process? Yeah, so how often do I change? I would say typically once every 48 hours minimum. That's kind of going to be just basics science there. Look back, I like to do a 7-day, a 14-day, and then a 30-day. For most all campaigns, it helps understand the history, helps understand where the campaign's actually at. Also note that every single time you're doing any form of change on Amazon, you have about 48-hour attribution for most of the changes. So you always have to take that into consideration. And then finally, bulk sheet versus just in the ad dashboard. It depends on what I'm doing on what account, right? If I'm updating everything across the board and I have to look at everything, it's a really big count, bulk sheet all day long. But if it's, I'm just checking 1 or 2 campaigns, I'm just going to go into the ad dashboard. So much easier. All right, let's see. Russian conversion rate from Seller Central includes PPC sales, but not PPC clicks. Correct. So if you're talking about like the actual search query performance, if you're looking at the actual analytics for it, your click-through rate, your conversion rate are going to be not identical to what you're seeing over on the ad console. And that's because the ad console is only going to show you the advertising side. If I decide to launch with low search volume, I think keywords, first, should I do SEO for low search volume keywords first, or should I launch my listing optimized for high search volume? Launch optimized for both. Like, there's no reason to not optimize for both them. The thing is, you need to also index for those keywords that you're spending the ad dollars on. So launch with both. Jose, how exactly does the PPC works? Because I managed to be first page with low bid, and next day I wasn't even, though I also lower my price. Yeah, look at PPC like an auction house. You're not the only guy bidding. You're not the only guy doing anything. So yeah, if you're first page one day and then not the other day, it sounds like someone else started to outbid you, and you lowered your price. How can I get to be in first page? You need to spend more. You need to bid more. All right. I need to get out of here, guys. I got a couple of things got handled today, so we're going to call it there. For those of you that are just joining us, unfortunately, we're leaving now. For those of you that have been here, though, we are My Amazon Guy. We are a full-service Amazon agency. We also do a ton of stuff off Amazon as well. If you need help on Amazon in any shape or form, reach out to us. Link down there. It looks like right here. My name is Noah Wickham. I'm our sales director, so feel free to reach out to me as well. Check me out on LinkedIn, or just check out our YouTube channel. I post videos on here all the time. So yeah, happy to be here. We'll be here next Friday as well, answering any and all of your questions. And if you haven't already, we had a webinar as well this week, earlier in the week. So check that out too. Has a bunch of really good content in it from not just myself, but a bunch of other people as well. So check that out. Anyways, hope you all have a great weekend and a great week ahead. Thank you, everybody.